Welcome, Couch Beers Republic. That was the Kiffness, Kiffness.
Was that a cat making that noise?
Yes, so that was, I've somehow discovered this fellow. He takes, like, animals making a noise or something on the internet, and then he mixes them into, like, songs and whatnot. There's another one, too, where he took a choir of, what is it? What do I want to say? Orthodox Jewish, like an Orthodox Jewish choir, and threw it like house beats to it. It's actually pretty badass.
Interesting. Is this like a well-known person, or is it just something
Define
you
well
stumbled
known?
on?
Define well known.
Is this on Spotify?
Yeah, it should be.
I always just look at how many monthly listeners they have to judge.
Yeah, do it. Kiffness. I mean, he's got
See if I can find him.
His YouTube channel. He has 1.6 million followers.
Okay, hold on. Play that. It sounds like. Have you ever heard this? Have you ever heard this noise?
Oh, that's uncomfortable. What is that? What are you doing?
I don't really know how to explain it.
Call.
You're saying like, it's like you're saying girl, but it comes out like doy. There's an episode of Bob's Burgers where they talk about how Luis gets banned from doing that because it annoys everybody in their house.
Oh,
I was like, I can do that.
Annoy everyone in your house?
Yeah, that too.
Oh.
What was I going to look up? The Kiffness.
Yes, sir. 1.6 million subscribers on YouTube.
That's a lot. He's got 1.6 million monthly listeners on Spotify.
Damn right.
This guy looks kind of like a weirdo.
Oh, I think
he looks like someone that would remix animal noises.
I'm telling you, he's got other cat ones, and he's got like a parrot one. He's got all sorts of animals, so it's hilarious. I strongly recommend everyone listen to him. Like there's songs that you can just listen to. They're not like annoying because he sings in them too and whatnot. But anyway,
I'll check him out.
That's what you get for putting me in charge of the intro.
Thanks. I appreciated it. Mix it up a little bit.
Heaven, yeah, brother.
Couch Beers Podcast episode 36 coming at you.
Who's counting?
So
what do you got?
Let's hit. We got one fact checker, Sam, classic. He wrote in to say, "My wife is a black belt. I would have no chance at beating her up." I have no idea what that's in reference to. I don't remember ever talking about.
I feel like is he saying that
his wife?
Is he saying that like he can't? Is that in regards to how many hours do women shop at Target or something per week?
I don't know.
And he's just like covering his bases, like he's saying the right thing, not the truthful thing.
I have no idea. I don't remember at all where that came from. Maybe he was listening to a different podcast he thought was us.
I guess that's what we get
as
we elevate in fame. I mean,
yeah, I didn't bother following up with him, but yeah, there we go. One fact check. Everything else we said was 100% accurate.
That sounds right. Cool.
So I just got back from Vegas.
Tell me about that.
It's only the second time I'd been to Vegas.
How much did you win?
Last time was with you. I went in. I went to the bank, got some cash out before I left.
Before it collapsed? Cool.
Yeah, before it collapsed.
Smart.
And it was in an envelope, as they do. They give you the cash in the envelope, right?
Yeah.
I came home with an envelope with $15 more than I left with.
Were they hundos? 20s. They're 20s.
No, like they were. I came back with three $5 bills more than I left with.
$5 bills. So $15.
Literally $15. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Which I think is pretty good. I think most of the other people I was with did not come back with.
What'd you play? Did you play like slots, roulette?
The roulette table last time we were there was nice to me. This time it was not. So mostly slots.
A lot of slots in Vegas, right?
A lot
of slots.
Yeah, slot.
That's what I said. Didn't I say that?
I'm not sure what you said, but I was playing slots.
Lots of slots.
All right. Yeah, it was pretty
I mean,
fun.
there's blackjack too.
Yeah, I don't like playing blackjack because you get stuck at a table with crabby old guys, and they're like, you don't make the move by the book. They're like, you stole my card. You suck. I'm like, okay, cool.
That's where you just gotta be like, I'm sorry, aren't I? My green money is just as green as yours. Butt kiss.
Yeah.
Cool. Anyway, okay, so you're on there just for some gambling, and you gambled and you won, and there you go. Quick
We went
turn
out,
and burn. 4 days, 5 days, 7
yeah,
days.
I think I was there. Let's see, I got there on Wednesday night, late, and I left Saturday morning. So what, like 3 days?
Okay. Thursday, Friday, really? No, 2.
Yeah, 2.5, which I think is the right amount of time.
Yeah, depends on what you do.
Yeah.
So, where'd you stay? How'd you stay?
We stayed at Caesar's Palace. It was pretty fun. Because when we went, we stayed at MGM Grand. You and I and the group we were with, which I liked, but the problem with MGM Grand is it's kind of like at the end of the strip, more or less, where Caesar's Palace felt like it was more in the middle.
Yeah,
It's right
that's
next
true.
to Bellagio.
That's true. Yeah.
Right
Cool.
across from Paris.
Cool. How many rooms are in what Emperor's Palace? What was it?
Caesar's
Palace.
I'm not sure, because there's multiple towers, but the tower we were in was like 38 floors or something like that.
Okay. If I were to guess, I'm going to say there's like 4,400 rooms in Caesar's Palace.
Makes sense. Yeah, because the floors.
I want people to fact check me. I don't know.
The
But
floors.
there's like 3,700 in MGM Grand. I don't know. I'm making it up.
The floors had like, they were numbered in the thousands, so they must have had at least 100 rooms on a floor, or maybe they just do that to make you think there's more rooms than there are.
Could be. I'm not entirely certain.
But our room, the room I was staying in with a couple of my friends, had a view of the Bellagio fountain, which was cool.
Bougie.
Yeah.
But you couldn't hear the music.
No, I couldn't hear the music.
Put your own music to
I
it.
was staying with Sam, and he was asking if they had a radio station you could tune into to listen to the music, like
That'd be kind of cool.
Christmas light shows, you know.
That'd be nice. But then it draws away from the being in person.
That's exactly what he said.
Smart man.
But it was fun.
Cool.
It's a good
Well,
time.
I'm glad to hear that.
We didn't do that much besides just hang out and
Gamble.
watch some basketball, and
You bet on any games?
I did. I didn't. I placed 3 sports bets. All 3 of them lost, so that was it.
Why didn't you pick any winners?
You know, I tried. Well, okay, so I did 2 parlays with teams I wanted to win on Thursday and Friday, and only, I think, I did 2 parlays, 3 teams each.
So what is a parlay?
So it's like,
I've heard about Captain Jack Sparrow saying that. Parlay.
no, so this is different. I don't know what he means, but this was like, a parlay just means you're making multiple bets, and for you to win, all of them have to be successful.
So it's like a harder bet.
Yeah. So it increases your winnings if you get it right.
Has anyone ever gotten March Madness 100% correct?
I don't think so.
Why not?
Because, like, I think Warren Buffett has this thing where he's like, I'll give $1 billion to someone that produces a perfect bracket. Because it's just that impossible. Like, the odds are that low. And even this year, my friend Brendan, we did like our own little bracket pool, you know? And he had 2 brackets in it. He picked, to win the tournament, he picked a 1 seed and a 2 seed. And both of them lost their first game.
Yeah, there's I read a book about like you can, if you're good at guessing, and it was like how you can with very little knowledge kind of like guess and be like right most of the time. And I was talking about brackets in sports, and it said like specifically March Madness, it just said if you pick like between like the 8th seed and 6th and 5th seed, I think, or maybe 4th, as to win it all, like statistically speaking, you'll probably do better than everyone else. Something weird like that.
Interesting.
It was like it's never the number ones, and it's never.
I think the last couple of years it has been, but maybe historically.
I don't know. I was just saying like, whatever. So
So
anyway,
my friend Sam,
I don't do
not
basketball.
to keep talking about him, but he filled out his bracket. He picked all the teams he wanted in the first round, and then clicked the button that it was like do a random coin flip for the rest of them, and his bracket's gonna win.
Oh my gosh.
It's pretty funny.
Love to see it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
What else do you got? What else?
A couple weeks ago, Belinda was in Phoenix. She went to see Taylor Swift with her sister.
Oh, she friends?
Her and Taylor Swift, yeah.
Cool.
Huge friends. So I went over to my parents' house and I was just hanging out with my mom because my dad was gone for the weekend too.
Also seeing Taylor Swift.
No, we were not. Oh, my dad was not seeing Taylor Swift. No.
Oh.
But we watched the movie RRR. Have you heard of it?
No.
So it was. I'm surprised it wasn't nominated for Best Picture this year, but it did win an Oscar for like Best Original Music or something like that.
Fuck. Okay. Mm-hmm.
You caught that? That was impressive.
Yes. No, nothing spilled anywhere.
Your can just slid off your knee.
Heaven, yeah.
That was pretty sweet.
Catch that with that chair in the way.
You should be able to see it. I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch that. Anyway, RRR. It's a Bollywood movie, and it was 3 hours long,
Whoa.
it was just too long. But it was very good.
Really?
I think I wrote down like all of the Best Picture nominees. I think it was better than. I've seen 6 of the 10 nominees. I think it was better than 5 of the 6 that I saw. In my opinion, it was really good.
Bollywood. What is Bollywood?
It's just like Indian Hollywood. They call it Bollywood. I don't know why, but it's like their production, or like I don't really know how to define it, but it's just Indian Hollywood. And I guess it was the most expensive Bollywood movie ever made. And it shows. Like, have you seen Everything Everywhere All at Once?
No, have you?
Yes.
Is it any good?
Yeah, I mean it won Best Picture, so it's pretty good. But
okay,
it's like kind of a karate movie, but it's kind of silly too. Like all the action scenes are like purposely overdone and like unrealistic, you know, where they're like flying through the air, drop kicking people. And RRR had some of the like that same like actionness, but it was like it was really well done because there was like one scene. It was probably like a 5-minute action scene, like super long, and some of the stuff that they were doing was so ridiculous that my mom and I were like laughing out loud at this movie. Like this one dude's a motorcycle mechanic. Somebody is like chasing him, launches off their motorcycle. He catches the motorcycle out of midair and like spins around like it's a shot put and chucks it back at him. It was so funny.
So what made that movie good if it's like over the top kind of by our standard bad? You know what I mean?
Without giving too much away, because I think it's worth watching. It's like there's a lot that you just kind of don't see coming. Like halfway through the movie, I thought it was the end of the movie. Like I thought I'm like, okay, they're wrapping up the story here. This is what's going to happen in my head. And then it doesn't happen. And I'm like, what the hell? What's going on? And then my mom was like, how much time's left? I'm like, it's halfway done. So there's like 2 separate movies almost in one.
Interesting. That's what makes it good.
Yeah. And it was entertaining. Like I think my favorite movie of the Best Picture nominees was Top Gun.
Okay.
And just because it was kind of cinematic, but it was also just entertaining, you know? Like it wasn't like All Quiet on the Western Front, which I really liked, but it was entertaining.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know the criteria for these categories because some movies that are like, I don't know. There are some movies where I'm like, that was nominated for Best Picture and this one wasn't. Like, I just don't understand the criteria. So I guess I'm the wrong person because I have I like different things with different movies.
Yeah.
Like I hate Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
It's honestly every movie that's below 50% that I actually love. And I don't even know how to say it. Audience reviews are also like in the high 80s. So I'm like, oh, so whoever these Rotten Tomato freaking like elitist people who hate movies, like, are,
Yeah.
I'm like, garbage. Like, honestly, it should be a user score,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like, oh, Rotten Tomatoes gave it 50%. Oh, it's some a-hole who doesn't like anything.
Yeah.
Whereas,
I think the best way to find movies that you like is to find reviewers that like the same kind of movies you do. So you're not just trusting the critic score or the audience score. You're not trusting the masses. You're
Here's what
trusting
I think.
individuals.
I don't like reading reviews before I see something if I'm interested in it, because I feel like I'll latch on, or I'll look for that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it seemed offbeat. It's like, I'm gonna like be up, I'll be aware of that point, and maybe it's right, maybe it's wrong, but like, to do what you do, go in blind, I think that's the right way to do it. If you read or listen to reviews before you see a movie, I think you're gonna have either the same opinion or not like the movie as much.
So I should clarify. I'm not talking about reading reviews. I'm just talking about find people that can recommend you movies. Like, I'm the same way. I don't want to read a review. Like I told you,
Gotcha.
I don't watch trailers.
Yeah,
because
that's
I just
kinda
want to
psycho.
I just want to hear someone I trust say this is a good movie. You should see it. Then I go watch it. For
Gotcha.
instance, our mutual friend Dallas, he recommended a TV show for me to watch, and it's 2 seasons that are out right now. And Belinda and I watched all 2 seasons in like a week. It's pretty good.
It doesn't have a name.
The Righteous Gemstones. It's on HBO.
I started watching that, but I didn't. I think I got through like the second episode and I just stopped. I don't know why.
My only complaint: too much vomit. There's a lot of. It's a humorous like drama, right? But there's a lot of vomit in that show,
Sure, yeah.
which just grosses me out more than it
You like
is
vomit?
funny to me. I hate vomit. There's a whole story there, but
I'm kind of. I never thought I'd say this or be this way, but I really like Guy Ritchie movies, and so now I will watch anything that he produces or directs.
mm-hmm.
And his most recent release was early March, mid-March, Operation Fortune, Rue de Gras or something. I don't know. Anyway,
Never heard of it.
highly recommend. Very good.
Writing it down. Operation Fortune.
Yeah. Jason Statham. Yeah, there's just really good cast, and I like the way the stories are told, and yeah, they're just, everything about it is just really good.
That reminded me. My dad texted me. I don't know, last week, just out of nowhere. Random question: what's your favorite Al Pacino movie? Do you have an answer?
Do I have an answer?
Yeah.
Al. Honestly, I like old Al Pacino. I mean, Scarface is kind of like an easy one.
Yeah, that's what I thought of too.
But like in his most recent work, I think there's that Hunters on Amazon Prime. It's a TV show where
I liked the first season, but I never followed up on it because the second season's out now, right?
I do not know,
Oh.
but I do know that I liked him as being an old wise person.
Yeah.
But like I watched, I would call it his prime in like the 90s and early 2000s,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like, what movie was it? It was really bad. I thought it was bad. He was like a gung ho detective, but it's like he was instructing everyone to do everything. It was not. Did not like it. I did not think it was good. But anyway.
So my answer was The Godfather, which I felt was also kind of a cop out, like Scarface. But I haven't seen that many Al Pacino movies, I don't think. I said, probably The Godfather, but what's the right answer? And he said, I'm torn between Serpico, I think is how you say it, and Dog Day Afternoon. He said Serpico is probably the better of the two, but they're very different movies. Serpico is on Amazon Prime, and Dog Day Afternoon is on HBO Max. Highly recommend.
He Al Pacino yells a lot in his movies. If you really watch how he acts, it's really like he's declaring a statement versus like saying a line.
Yeah.
Like even the detective one, it was just I keep going to that because it was really just not good. I don't know. So anyway, sorry. Cool.
Good. Yep. There we go.
Glad to hear it.
Movie talk. So go watch RRR. Good movie.
Triple R. There you go.
I don't remember where I watched it. I think it's on Netflix maybe.
That sounds right.
But I watched it dubbed because originally it's in Hindi, I think. And normally I don't like doing that, but it actually was pretty good. But it was weird because even like there's British people in it. It's like in the 1920s or whatever when
also it's an
the
older
British
film.
Empire it's an old movie when the British Empire was like ruling over India. So there's a lot of British people in it. And even them talking in English looked like the voices didn't match, even though they were talking in English in the movie. It was kind of weird. But anyway.
Cool. I'll allow it.
Yep.
So, I kind of want to bring up Chat GPT and Google Bard.
Yeah.
So,
which my dad texted me the other day and said, I don't know if he was doing it on purpose, but he said, I have a Chat GDP story for you. I don't know what I never followed up on it. I just said, okay. Actually, I didn't even respond. He said, I have a Chat GDP story for you sometime.
Nice.
Yeah. Should I just like cold call him and see what he has to say? No, he's on vacation right now. I won't do that.
Yeah, don't do that to him. He's on vacay.
Yeah. He doesn't need to hear from me.
We don't need to have call-in guests yet. So, here's the thing. I don't know. I'm split. I'm torn between, I would say, old school way of thinking and new school way of thinking.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, so old school way of thinking. I think people are going to rely on this heavily, and personal knowledge will dissipate or, be less and less. I think the way of the future is with this tool out there. You have to teach now how to think critically. Don't teach people how to think, but how to think critically.
Yeah.
So ask follow-up questions, get verifying information, blah, blah, blah. I think you got to really hone in on that. So that's where the progressive new way that I can get behind is, this is like truly like the next step. It sounds really crazy, but like the evolution of like human beings, really.
Yeah.
Because we don't have to, if this thing can be relied on and it's accurate,
mm-hmm.
I mean, you got to think about it. The only thing that's missing then is someone to challenge it with asking questions. What I mean by that is like, I don't know, you can't run everything on AI, right?
Why not?
Well, then you're not human, are you?
Sure you are. Are you saying?
Explain.
So I have glasses.
Yeah.
That are machined and mechanical, and I use them every day. Does that make me not human?
I don't think that's the same thing, though.
Why not? It's just an extension of me. I have a phone that I carry around with me. I use it to look up information. Does that make me not human?
I still don't think those are two the same things. Your glasses aren't giving you information.
They make it easier for me to gain information, just like the internet makes it easier. So here's the thing. So I would argue the other way, because I think like in the last 30 years with the evolution of the internet,
Mm-hmm.
the access to information has gotten much, much, much better for the average person.
Mm-hmm.
Like magnitudes infinitely better than it was 30 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that makes the average person more knowledgeable. I think the same will be true with AI. Because your access to information is incredibly better. Boom.
Yeah. I mean, you're entitled to your opinion.
The correct one.
Sure. So that's where I go back and forth where I just see it as a crutch for people, but it can be a tool for the right people.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be more of a crutch than it is a tool. If you look at every single human out there has a phone.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. I think it's going to be okay. Do you think 51% is using it as a tool, or 51% is using it for a crutch?
Well, I think I don't think that you can use it as a crutch if you're using it as a tool. Because if you're using it to help you solve a problem, I don't think
but
that's
if you're
using
asking
it as a
it
crutch.
like a multiple 6x6, if you don't know how to do basic stuff, I think it's a crutch.
But who cares? Like, as long as you have access to the answer, why does it matter where you got the answer from? Why, like, what benefit is it that I can do 6x6, 36 in my head, where someone else can do it? Maybe it takes a little bit longer to type it into a computer.
Yeah. So I guess my rationale with that would be, okay, so if that tool goes away somehow, does anyone know how to do anything? It's a pretty not great outlook on the future, but that's just the question I have.
That's a fair question, because I think we've talked about before, like, how the now I'm trying to remember what they're called. Solar flares can, like, have in the past taken out of electrical equipment, and how it could happen again. Right? We've talked about that, I think. But
or just like mass, whatever. Right? I'm just saying, like, I don't think it's gonna go away. So that's where I think it's an evolution. Like, it is the next kind of phase, because right now we can just process more information faster. Again, but if you're asking it, I think basic things, I don't think it's great.
So you're picturing some dystopian situation where maybe, like, large banks in the U.S. start failing, and companies no longer have money to upkeep their systems, and the electricity network goes down because companies can't pay to.
No, I'm looking at
keep
it
it
more
up.
of like on a day-to-day basis. People, would, the tribal knowledge of being passed down of, like, skills and how things have been done are going to go away, because you won't ask.
It's funny that you say that, because, like, in my job, we use the word tribal knowledge as a slur, like, not like
Whoa.
no,
Tim.
not like that kind of slur, but like, if you're having access to information based on your prior experience, and someone else doesn't have the same access to that information, then they can't do the job, or they can't solve the problem in the same way that you can, which is a bad thing for the company, right?
Mm-hmm. So I guess, I completely agree with that. Like, to me, it's like, get everything out either on paper or process maps or something, so then tribal knowledge goes away, because that way you can function without it. So I guess, like, a good example, is it easier to show someone how to tie a shoe, or to punch it into ChatGPT or whatever and say, how does one tie a shoe? Which is better?
I would argue.
Which is better?
I would argue.
Yes or no?
No, I would argue that it's better for
yes or no?
ChatGPT to do it, because ChatGPT would explain to them how to do it themselves rather than you doing it for them. Boom.
So then you have to ask yourself, can people interpret literature then? Instructions are worthless if you don't have context and don't know how to interpret it.
Well, that's part of using your brain, right? You'd have to be able to interpret it.
But how do you teach interpretation?
The same way we always have. Nothing with that would change. Like, obviously, to use ChatGPT.
How are you taught
have to
how to
know
interpret stuff? I've never was taught that.
Like reading?
Context and
Reading comprehension?
yeah, they didn't teach comprehension. They just they tested it to see if you could comprehend it, but they didn't teach you how to.
They teach you how to read through practice. Right?
Through practice?
Yeah. Like in elementary school, in like kindergarten, I remember we did this thing where every day we would come into class and they'd say, "Okay, you're learning the alphabet, right?" They're like, "Okay, what words start with the letter A?" And then the next day we come to class, "What words start with the letter B?" And there'd always be like, "Benjamin." Yeah, that's the name. What other words? Barbecue. I don't know.
But that's not comprehension.
No, but that's it's an iterative process. So you learn the letters, then you learn how to sound out words and spell them. Then you keep expanding your vocabulary, and by practice, reading more and more, you increase your reading level. I'm reading at a 5th grade level right now, but I'm only in 4th grade. So that would none of that I can see changing with artificial intelligence.
I'm not talking about that though.
What are you talking about?
I said comprehension, interpretation.
What's the difference?
Well, I don't know. We should Google that, but I would say comprehension is...
To me, that's the same thing.
Comprehension and interpretation?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, it's probably very similar if it isn't the same, right? Yeah, I guess, like for me, I can read something and not understand what the hell it is.
Yeah. Like you read some high-level scientific paper about
it doesn't
a
even have
topic
to be
you don't know about.
scientific. I can just be like, half the words on a damn freaking soda or something. It's like, I don't know
Even the name of that soda, I don't know how to pronounce.
Yeah, but it's like, what is...
Is it Perrier?
Yeah, that's how I say it.
I think that's how it is.
Sounds bougie.
You gotta like stick your pinky out.
Yeah, right. But like, I don't know, what's...
I thought that can was open for a second. You're just throwing it around.
I don't know. Yeah, so anyway, so all I'm saying is I think if you rely on something too much and it goes away and you can't do normal stuff, I think by definition that's a crutch.
I think even you have to be a natural problem solver no matter what. Like what tools you're using doesn't really make a difference, just makes it easier to solve the problem, possibly. Like, because you have to know how to prompt ChatGPT or Google. Like, it's been the same way with Google forever, that you have to know what keywords to use, how to write your question. Are you going to even frame it as a question or just say types of trees in Minnesota to figure out what trees in your front yard? I used ChatGPT to do that today. I was trying to figure out what kind of tree this was.
Interesting. You took a picture of it or what?
So I don't have the full conversation I had with ChatGPT, but first I just described it, and then it was like, send me a picture. I was like, can't do that, because it wasn't like I couldn't just paste a picture into the chat, whatever. It was like, send me a link to a website with the picture, and it worked. It was like, oh, I think that's I don't remember what it said, but I actually don't think it was right, but anyway.
Yeah, so anyway, I guess my whole point is I think if it's never going away, then it's an evolutionary tool. But I think it's so new and we're seeing all this. I mean, technology is pretty ingrained with us, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But to say that it's like, I don't know, I still think there's a lot of what ifs and like, the power grid, went down in Texas and stuff. Like there's all this crazy stuff that still happens that everyone's like, it'll never happen.
Yeah.
So
it probably will. That's the scary part.
Well, so that's what I mean is like, I think if you use it as a tool, it's an evolutionary tool. If you use it as a crutch, it will be a crutch. That's what I think.
Cool.
I've already used it as a tool, so
Yeah.
I'm using it. I'm not going to say for what it's designed for, but I'm using it as a tool. I'm not like being like, I don't know how to do this, whatever, just like feeding it whatever.
Yeah. Since we talked about it that one time where I was like talking about all the prompts I was giving it and stuff, there's been so many more times where I've used it where it just doesn't work or like
Oh, really?
doesn't spit out correct information.
Really?
And I call it out. I'm like, you're wrong. But
yeah, it's funny. Bard. Have you used Bard at all?
No. My dad sent me. He got access to it.
I did too. It's
Google's AI, right?
Yeah, Google's version of ChatGPT. And they say it'll give you some like whatever inappropriate answers or something. It's not like clean, so to speak. It gives you that warning, and then what's really cool at the end of it is if you don't believe its answer or you want to fact check it, it just says Google that, and you click Google it at the bottom.
Does it always help?
I've never tried it. I've only given it like simple prompts kind of thing. Like,
I was talking to a guy at work about it too, and I was like, "Yeah, Google is the one that's already like parsing all the information on the internet to like provide answers to you. So like their AI service has got to be really good."
Yeah, I've noticed. I mean, I did the same prompts with both ChatGPT and Google Bard, and I like ChatGPT's answer better. So I
Was
feel
it
like
more correct, or you just liked how it responded better?
I liked how it responded. The things I'm telling it to do, I'm using it as a tool, so I'm not asking for an answer. I'm saying, write a concerned letter to a valuable customer stating blah, blah, blah. And it was like, I gave it all the criteria, and then it pumps out this like very, very professional looking letter. I'm like, hell
awesome.
yeah. And then I just copy paste that into Word, and then I dress it up to make it from me.
Yeah.
AKA just add a comma here, add a little bit more here. Because it's all generic, right? They don't know anything.
Yeah.
Unless you tell it to. But I dress it up to make it my own, and then...
See, that's actually really interesting, because that makes sense that maybe ChatGPT would have a better answer for that than Google, because I bet Google is just kind of reworking how their search results, like basically rewording their search results into an answer that's like a conversation.
Right.
Where maybe ChatGPT is designed more to just like take all the information that's on the website and try to write something that's comprehensive and
or just sense. It understands the context. I don't know how it all works, so I can just tell the prompt for ChatGPT was like something I was like, yeah, I'll use this again, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's like that's the other thing too I've been using it at work a couple times, and I need to validate the information to make sure before I submit, kind of thing, because it doesn't matter how good it's written if it doesn't make sense or it's not right.
Yeah.
Well,
Cool. That's good to know.
Yeah.
I'm interested. Did you get access to it because you have a Google phone, or why?
ChatGPT or
no, the Google Bard.
I don't know. I think so. I think which
is a terrible name, by the way. Come up with something better than Bard.
Maybe it's means something.
Isn't a bard like a Renaissance time singer?
Could be, or it could be a barbarian. So I haven't used Google Bard like in that context, but ChatGPT I use at work.
Nice.
So I don't know where I was going with that, but
cool.
But yeah, I don't know. I think it's a great tool if you use it as a tool, and then not a tool if you're gonna rely on it for basic shit.
Yeah.
My opinion.
So you think, changing the subject, do you think there's going to be a banking crisis in the U.S.?
I don't know. I don't know enough about it to form an opinion other than what's the point of, I don't know.
I learned
The
something.
government keeps bailing things out.
Yeah.
So there's no, my opinion is there is no, what do I want to say? You're not creating a bad outcome.
Mm-hmm.
So you're giving big players, you're essentially giving them like free reign to say like you can do whatever the hell you want and you'll be bailed out.
Mm-hmm.
Now everyone's like, well, they're making all this legislation and all this stuff. I don't know. I'm of the perspective that banks should have failed. But
Well, they did fail, right? But the deposits are still covered by FDIC insurance.
yeah, but that was the big thing is like not all of them up to 250,000. So
Right.
these other people had deposits of like whatever 400 million or something, and
So those got covered still.
yeah, but
Even though FDIC insurance is for up to 250,000.
yeah,
But you're saying they covered like everything, all the
I don't know if the
deposits?
FDIC did or if the government did.
Yeah. I think you're right, the government did.
But that's one of those things where the only reason
I was hoping
sorry.
I was hoping we could have our mutual friend on that knows like more about banks than probably like 99.99% of people.
Yeah.
But he was getting over a sickness, so maybe we'll have him on soon to talk about it. But I was asking him all kinds of questions, and I learned more about banks in the last like month than the rest of my life combined, probably.
There you go.
Which is very interesting to me.
Yeah, no, it's yeah.
Sorry for interrupting you.
No, you're good. I don't know where I was going. Yeah, I just don't. There's probably a reason. Again, I'm not informed, right? But just from scratching the surface, I just, if you create an incentive, people are going to abuse it, or, what this whole banking thing, my understanding is really, it's all these PE venture capital people threw money at these companies, and they're really losing all their money. So they're putting pressure on Congress to back it, so then they don't lose all their money. So
I
it's
think
like friends of powerful people that are like tapping each other on the shoulder and slapping each other on the butts, kind of thing. That's my opinion.
That's maybe the cynical way to look at it, but I think it also had to do with, like they didn't want to cause a bank run on every bank. Like people are like, oh, this bank failed, why maybe my bank will fail and I won't be able to get my money back, and start like this massive bank run.
Yeah, maybe.
But I learned something talking to our friend about this, because I said, like, do you think this is going to be a bigger issue than it already has been, whatever, and he basically said, like, no, it was handled really well. Bigger banks have a lot more scrutiny and stress testing on their systems, so they're probably not as susceptible to this, or like susceptible to the issues that like Silicon Valley Bank and whatever Signature, the other one, had. And he said that the one thing I do think will come out of it is more regulations on like liquidity and stuff like that. And I was like, well, what kind of regulations are there already? Like, is there a regulation like banks have to have like X percentage of deposits in cash?
Yeah.
And he said, no, there's nothing. Like,
really?
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I was like, that is the most insane thing I've ever heard of. He's like, yeah, well, think about it. Like, there haven't really been major bank runs in the U.S. in a long, long time.
I thought they had to have like 5% or something of their total deposits on site or something.
He claimed no,
Okay.
which I also was like that just makes sense. Like it's why is there not a regulation about that? Which I get from the bank's perspective, why they wouldn't want to hold cash
because I thought
and earn as much as they can. But
maybe there's no formal regulation.
There's probably
I thought there was like a FDIC
internal rules.
I thought they had rules where it was like, because I thought when it was inflationary times, they were trying to pull money out of the system, so they they made them hold more deposits on site, so they didn't lend it out. So that takes money out of the economy, so to speak, by being tighter with your lending habits.
Where that was just like the FDIC's recommendations
I thought
or whatever.
I thought that was an FDIC rule. So I guess not a formal regulation. Maybe I don't know how that all works.
I'm sure every
We're
bank.
speculating, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure every bank has like their own internal rules, like for risk management and stuff. But
yeah, I don't know. I just know, like, I don't know. I feel like inflation's going to. That didn't help. Because now
you're exactly right. Like, so one of the problems was, the Fed, like, printed a whole bunch of money, and like during COVID, and then said, like, look, we're seeing inflation, but it's transitory, right? Is that right? Or it's not transitory? No, it is transitory.
Yeah, they kept
meaning
saying,
it's like it's not like permanent inflation, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah. So these banks started taking out long dated bonds, and then the Fed, like, after telling them it was transitory inflation, started raising rates, which made the bonds lose money. And then, like, the one that kicked it off, Silicon Valley Bank, had to sell their bonds at a loss. And because they're a public company, that information that they sold these bonds at a loss was public.
Mm-hmm.
And so you think about it. This is exactly, if you remember, when we were talking about FTX, this is why I knew FTX was in trouble, because they were selling their venture investments when they weren't allowed to, right? Like, why would you do that unless you're in trouble?
Right.
Which Silicon Valley Bank was selling these bonds at a loss because they were in trouble. And everybody knew it, so they had a bank run.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, then you got to ask yourself, do bank runs occur because of the media, or because, like, honestly, if they would have said this is isolated to SVB or whatever, Silicon Valley Bank,
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of more people would be like, oh, it's an isolated, like, mismanagement of the bank. But then all the analysts get in there and everyone gets in there about, oh my gosh, the financial crisis of everyone and everything.
Yeah.
And I just think it's a mass psychosis and panic where that's where people do that.
100%.
Because honestly, I don't know how many people have, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm just feeble-minded, right? But how many people have more than $250,000 in their bank?
Probably like 1% of people.
So, I mean, really, when people are freaking out about pulling out their money, like individual people, it's like, okay, do you have that much in there? Or is it like, you're insured?
But see, that's what, because I started this conversation with our friend by making a joke, like, is this an issue, or should I start pulling my money out and keeping it under the mattress? And he like, obviously I'm joking. You know who I'm talking about. So, like, he took me seriously. Maybe he didn't. He knew I was joking, but he's still gonna answer it like I'm being serious, you know?
Yeah.
And he was like, "Well, do you have more than $250,000?" I'm like, "Well, no, but I don't think the FDIC is gonna knock on my door the morning after my bank fails and drop off an envelope full of cash." And you know what he told me? He's like, "Well, all of the deposits from people in, like, that had money in Silicon Valley Bank were available the next business day. Like, they basically, the FDIC takes over the Silicon Valley Bank, and then gives everyone access to their accounts and all the money that was in them the next business day." I was like, that's actually insane that, like, a government agency would move that fast.
They're not a government agency.
Well, kind of. I mean, they're independent from the federal government, right? Is that what it is?
Allegedly.
The only reason I am confident that they are a government agency is because our friend. I can't say that. Never mind, because I don't want to say where he works.
Doesn't matter. So the perception is that they work independent, but they have to report to Congress. They have to report to all those people. I mean, it's like,
It's not paid
there's
for by taxpayers, right? Or it is.
I don't know. It could be self-funding. Well, maybe it is through bank, if they charge a fee to the bank. I have no idea how it works. It's FDIC, Federal Deposit Insurance Company.
Yeah.
I'm assuming the banks pay a premium. Doesn't that
That
make
would
sense?
make sense, yeah.
'Cause it's an insurance company.
Yeah.
And then if you're super risky, your premiums go up.
Yeah.
Or I don't know. I mean, this is how it should work, right? Damn it!
Yeah.
I have no idea. So
Yeah. But okay, so the Fed is in this crazy position where like they were raising rates to combat inflation and like it was working, right? But now they're at a point where they've been raising rates so much that they're putting banks into failure mode, and like we still have inflation. It's not like cured, right? But there's banks failing. So do you keep raising rates to keep fighting inflation? Do you stop raising rates to try and protect the banks? Like, what do you do?
well, I mean,
I'm glad I'm not the one in that position to make that decision.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know what there's probably a right answer out there.
Yeah.
I don't know. With my limited knowledge, and I took money in banking many moons ago. I don't know. To me, it just seems like, and maybe I'm wrong, but it just seems like the FDIC is there to help out the people who need it or whatever.
Yeah.
If a bank fails, then it's there for people. But apparently, if you're big enough, you don't fail. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like you almost get rewarded for being riskier.
Mm-hmm.
And why are other banks not failing, or why are other banks not in this position? Bank management? I mean, I don't know. To me, there should be some kind of recourse or repercussion on management of that bank. Go after their pockets.
Sure.
If they're running a Fortune 500 company or whatever, a bank, are they getting a golden parachute? Is ultimately when they get bailed out? Oh, you also get paid your $2.3 million bonus too. Is that right? I don't think that's right. I don't know if that's happening, but that's what happened in 2008. Everyone got bailed out, and
I think
everyone got their bonuses.
I think I saw something that was it said most of their bonuses are not going to be paid out, but it didn't say all of them.
Yeah, I know. It's actually kind of there are some companies out there that are. I think Apple might be one of them. Actually, they forego forwent. Is that a word? Forwent?
I don't know. That's a good question.
I'm gonna use it. They forwent their management bonuses, so they didn't have to lay off people.
Yeah,
I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah. I don't know if it was Apple. Someone should fact check me on that, because
that's that's like your friend that takes a $100,000 paycheck a year so that all of his employees can make at least $50,000 or something, right? You remember?
I have a friend like that?
No. It was one of the first times you went on a rant about somebody on LinkedIn. It was that one guy. I don't remember.
Oh, the guy who got busted for raping women or touching women and stuff.
I shouldn't laugh at that.
What was his name? Gary Price or something Price?
Something Price. Dan Price.
Dan Price. Fuck that guy.
Is it Dan Price?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
He's got long hair. He looks like an idiot. Has a lot of allegations against him. Yeah. You heard it from me. Bad juju. I did not feel good about that dude. He was spitting lies. Read up on that dude. I hope he did get canceled. So I'm actually I feel
he
vindicated.
He definitely got canceled.
Yeah. So anyway,
I can't believe we didn't bring that up until now, because you were so mad about that.
Yeah, he kept gloating how he pays all his employees $70,000.
Yeah, I think that's the number.
And it's okay, and whatever. He lost, I won. Yeah. So that's all that matters.
Yep.
But no, I think I don't know how it's gonna go, but
I don't know.
No, it just seems like I don't know. I just feel like if something's going to fail or should fail, I think it ought to, so then everyone could see, don't do that. But when you keep getting bailed out, you're not. It's essentially like mom and dad bailing you out of jail, and you never learn.
Mm-hmm.
You keep going back to the store or whatever, and just keep fucking up, and you keep getting bailed out.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when's enough? Because who's going to be paying for this?
The last time that the U.S. had major bank failure was the Great Depression.
2008.
Well, but they all got bailed out in 2008.
Oh yeah. Well, they created the FDIC after the
Right.
the Great Depression
Mm-hmm.
deal.
To basically try to prevent that from happening again.
Yeah.
Which, so far, so good. 100 years later.
Yeah. Well.
I was listening to a very doomerist podcast with the guy that was predicting that he made a bet that one Bitcoin would be worth $1 million in 90 days, but not because the value of Bitcoin went up, because the value of the US dollar went down. Basically, his argument was like the government or the FDIC or whatever that was covering these deposits said, oh, there's going to be no cost to taxpayers to do this. So he's like, what does that mean? It means that the Federal Reserve is just printing money to cover this up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is probably true. And he said there's going to be more bank failures because all banks are run the same way with fractional reserve model. And they all probably took on this bad debt by trusting the Fed that that they weren't going to start raising rates because inflation was transitory. And then they started raising rates, and now they're all in trouble. And he's like, they're going to have to start printing more and more money. U.S. is going to go into hyperinflation. Bitcoin's going to be worth $1 million.
What about Ethereum?
Well, his argument is like, that's basically what Bitcoin was designed for, was to have like a
Hedge against.
a very sound monetary policy that like anyone can predict what it's going to be like in 127 years or whatever when the last Bitcoin's mined.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think that's true, but like definitely not 90 days. That's insane.
Never
But
know.
he was like, I mean, he's a pretty smart guy, and he predicted that COVID was going to be way bigger than anybody expected in like January of 2020 when there was like 1,000 cases a day or something like that. He was like, this is going to be a massive problem and we're going to shut down the world. And he was right. Like 3 months later.
90 days.
Yeah, there you go. Maybe that's where he got the number. He's like, I'm ready to be right again. But
Nice.
so I don't think he's like an insane guy, but I just think he's wrong here.
Yeah.
But he's
well,
like, these hyperinflation things, like situations where it's happened before, it doesn't happen slow. It happens fast. And you don't see it coming.
yeah. So I don't know.
Be pretty crazy.
Yeah. Crazy times.
That's what I was thinking when I was losing money in Vegas. I was like, who cares? This money's going to be worthless in 90 days anyway.
See?
Mm-hmm. Made me feel better.
Yeah.
Then I won it all back. Nice.
Worthless.
Yep.
Yeah.
Put it right back in my bank account.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is.
Me either. It's a crazy situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I think if it was gonna like steamroll into hyperinflation, it would have already happened, because like the panic that came out of like the Silicon Valley Bank and Signature, and then like Credit Suisse, like a big like European bank, had to get bought out.
Yeah, but they were in dire straits before all this too.
Were they?
Yeah. Everyone was talking about, ooh, let's just short them and wait for freaking Bank of America or JP Morgan to buy them or something. But anyway. I don't want to say they were in trouble. They were just like, I think they identified the problem and they were unloading stuff to create liquidity, and they were taking on losses, but the bank was still sound. I don't know. That's what I understand. Credit Suisse or whatever.
Swiss. I think it's not Swiss. It's Swiss.
Oh, sorry.
I think I said Swiss originally, but it's
Cheese.
Swiss.
Trying to think what else there is.
Not much. It seems like everything that's going on in the world. You know what's crazy? So Alyssa was telling me about the Taylor Swift concert.
Who's Alyssa?
Belinda, sorry.
Oh,
I hate when I mispronounce her name. She gets really mad at me.
I get confused.
So Belinda was telling me about the Taylor Swift concert. She had 2 openers. They played for like a total of an hour and a half. Then Taylor Swift came out and played for over 3 hours straight. Like no breaks. Her longest break was like a 3-minute costume change.
Damn.
Isn't that insane?
Yeah.
That is so crazy.
That's like Dave Matthews Band. 3.5 hours straight. Maybe 1 10-minute break in between.
That's wild.
Yeah.
J.J. Watt was there because he lives in Arizona. And Belinda showed me a I think it must have been like an Instagram video or something of J.J. Watt being like, that was the craziest thing. Like, even in football, we get half times. That was funny.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, well, that's when artists make all their money, right? Is touring.
Mm-hmm.
So she's probably like, I'm due for a mortgage payment or something.
She was in Vegas when we were there, but
What's she doing there?
performing.
Nice.
Yeah. Also, Mark Wahlberg was there, just like hanging out at the casino.
Oh.
Do you know who Mattress Mac is?
Should I?
He's this super famous sports bettor. He's this old dude that owns like a mattress company in Houston. I saw him actually. He was at the Caesars Sportsbook when we were there. He had armed security, like walking him around, like his own hired armed security, walking him around the casino, because he like, whenever you hear about like somebody just lost $40 million betting on this game, it's that guy. It's Mattress Mac.
He loses $40 million.
He bets like tens of millions of dollars on these games.
Damn.
And it was the day that Houston lost, and I'm pretty sure he lost like millions of dollars betting on Houston. And we saw him after the game. He didn't look very happy, but he's also pretty old, so it's hard to tell.
Yeah, they always look angry, don't they?
Yeah. He just kind of had his head down and like walking.
Hell yeah.
It's pretty crazy though.
Oh, finally got my Lawrence.
Oh
record.
yeah.
Almost 7 months later.
I'll tell you, that's normal.
Yeah, I don't like it though. I don't have to like it.
No, you don't.
When you buy something online.
You're just.
Well, they probably lost money because you know what? I paid whatever it was, and with inflation, they probably lost money. Screw them.
True.
Screw them.
That's a good point.
Not screw them, but the hell with them.
Unless they already had a contract in place to print it at a certain price. Probably did.
So
Never
who's
know.
losing money? The printer.
Yeah, or their everyone's profit or like their margins are going down.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, there you go.
I don't know how long we've been talking.
I don't know. Nothing on the LinkedIn front other than.
Oh, I was going to tell you. Thank you for bringing that up. On my flight to Vegas, I was sitting next to this guy that he was probably like, I don't know, in his 60s. We get up in the air. Airplane mode goes on. He opens up his photos on his phone. He starts looking at screenshots he took of people's LinkedIn profiles. And he's zoomed in on the text and was reading through them. He did this with like 40 different profiles.
Oh, who is this dude?
I don't know.
Were you like, you gonna connect with those people, or are you just gonna?
No, I should have figured out what his name was and added him.
Yeah, you should have.
Isn't that weird? That's like one of the weirder things I've seen people do on an airplane. I was flying Spirit though, so.
Oh, hell yeah!
We clapped when we landed.
Yes. Did you have to clean up, stretch, and grab all the trash around your feet too?
No. But one of our flight attendants, he was pretty funny. He was like, they come down and like, hey, you want a pop? You want a coffee? Whatever. And then they come back through with a garbage bag to clean it all up. As he's walking back through with the garbage bag, he's like, wallets and purses in the bag.
Yes. Oh my gosh,
That's pretty funny.
That's how Spirit Airlines should operate
Yeah.
all the times.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
He said a bunch of really funny stuff, but that was the one I remember the most.
Yeah, I love that airline.
I've flown Spirit twice. Well, like I guess 4 flights total. No issues. My flights were on time. I knew going into it, you get a backpack, that's it. If you're bringing a carry-on, you got to pay like $60. I knew that. So I just packed all my clothes. I'm only going for a weekend. I packed all my clothes in a backpack. No issues. Got an exit row seat for like $100. Boom.
Telling you, man, if you have the option to upgrade to like the first class, I'm putting those in quotes, but the big oversized chairs in the front,
Mm-hmm. They literally call them the big seats.
yeah, for like $30, do it.
Yeah. I looked, they were more, but
Oh,
yeah,
like how much more?
unfortunately. It was like an extra, because I think my plane ticket was like $80, and then I upgraded to the exit row for like another $20. But I think it was like another $70 for the big seat.
They found me out. They found out my secrets.
Yeah.
But
so the first one, the flight out there, it was just like you can upgrade for I think it was $22. But then on the flight back, it was like there wasn't an option to just, it was like, on eBay, it's like you got to bid or you got to buy now. There was no buy now option. So I had to bid for it, and I still got it. But
that's like, honestly, that's super smart though.
yeah.
So then, because then people they set their own price.
Yep.
The market sets the price. I love that.
Yeah.
I was like, I will pay $35. Didn't
So-
get it. 36, 37. It's like, I won't pay more than 40.
And they like recommend, they're like, this is like, they have a sliding scale. They're like, if you bid this much, you might get it. If you bid a little bit more, like this much, you got a good chance. If you bid this much, you're definitely going to get it, which is cool.
Yeah. I love that shit.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it should be. Damn it.
Yep.
Oh, fun fact. People in South Dakota don't wash their hands when they use the restroom. So that's cool.
Nice.
Yep.
Like nobody?
I went to like 3 or 4 bathrooms, rest areas on my way back from Wyoming with my dad. And every single one, I was just finishing, or what was it? I got in there. There were people already in there peeing. And then I was peeing, and then they just left. And I was like, I did not hear the sink go. I was peeing right next to the sink because that's where the urinal was. And I'm like, that's fucking gross. There's 2 guys in the same bathroom that didn't. And then it was a different rest area. They didn't. And I'm like, okay, I don't get it. Like, and this happened. I don't want to say this happened. A similar pattern last time I was driving through South Dakota.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed people weren't washing their hands when they were leaving the restroom. So I was like, it's a South Dakota thing. I'm blasting South Dakota. If there's senators listening, address it with your people. I mean,
Gotta write some laws.
they
This has to be corrected.
They have to wash them before they go back to work, but these were not workers, I'll tell you that. These were road warriors or farmers. I don't know what the hell they were.
You never know, though. Maybe give them the benefit of the doubt. They got hand sanitizer in the car. They didn't want to touch the handle.
They did touch the handle.
They didn't want to touch the handle after washing their hands. So they go out to their car, hand sanitizer it up.
Yeah, I'm not going to give
Maybe
them that.
Maybe they just left their hotel where they stayed overnight, took a shower. They knew they were clean. They got to the rest stop, had to use the bathroom, but also were running late. They got a work meeting they got to get to. They got 2 hours to get home. The rest of the drive's hour, 59 minutes, and 58 seconds.
20 seconds of hot water and soap is not going to make a difference on that damn thing.
You never know.
I 100% know. It's one of those things. It's like you go 1 mile an hour faster than another guy, you'll probably end up at the light ahead of him by like 2 minutes, depending on how far you're going. Like if you're traveling like 20 miles, one bro goes 60 miles an hour, one bro goes 63.
Mm-hmm.
How fast does the other guy get there than the other guy? It's negligible. It only...
Probably about 3 miles an hour faster.
Yeah, so what is that?
How far are you going? 60 miles?
No, I said, well, we could use that for simplicity, yeah.
So you'd get there like 63 divided by... like around 3 minutes. It's not exactly, but...
Is that true? I don't think that's true.
60 divided by 63 is a number about 59 something. That's not right. About 90. I'm gonna guess in my head. It's about 97. So you do 97 times 60 minutes. That would tell you how much faster they got there. Or times 60 miles.
So like, 2.5 minutes or something?
Something
Negligible.
Like that. But what if that's the difference between making the word
hold on.
meaning
That's
and
60
missing it?
miles. Over 60 miles. Negligible. You hit a stoplight, the guy's caught up with you.
I don't know. Well, wait, you're arguing against yourself now.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah.
Nuh-uh.
Because you're saying it doesn't matter if you speed up, the guy's going to catch up to you. But if you're...
So I'm saying, even if you're going 5 miles an hour.
So you don't
Like-
have a second to spare. You're right. You don't have time to wash your hands.
That's not the point at all. It's you're going to be in the window of 20 seconds. That is negligible.
Okay, so I guess what you're saying is outside of extreme circumstances, you should wash your hands when you go to the bathroom. Agree or disagree?
Tell you what, I'll give you the scenarios in which it's okay not to wash your hands after you're peeing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, first off, you'd have to be notified of emergencies during your pee, so doubt that's going to happen.
What if you get an Amber Alert on your phone? It's like, bwomp, 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 bwomp.
You know, yeah, actually there is no reason. Because if there was a true emergency, you wouldn't be like, hold on, I got to piss.
You just pee your pants?
No, I'd be like, this is an emergency, I'm going to just hold it.
What if you can't?
It's not that big of an emergency then, is it?
If you can't hold your pee?
No, whatever it is that is preventing you from washing your hands.
What if you go to the bathroom and you say, "Oh, I've been driving for 4 hours. I got to look at my phone to see if anybody's texted me or called me."
Mm-hmm.
You see text from wife. It says, "I'm going to the hospital. I'm in labor."
Real quick. So you're opening and touching your phone after you peed to get your germs all over your phone. Is that
while you're
true?
peeing.
Oh, grosser.
You got one hand on your phone, one hand on your Joan. Johnson.
Okay.
You see text from wife. "I'm going into labor.
Mm-hmm.
Get here now. This thing's coming out quick." And you say, "Oh no, this was an hour ago. I'm still 2 hours from home." And
You think 20 seconds in that whole
zip up.
grand scheme of that thing?
this is your first kid. You can't risk it.
I'll be honest. I'm not touching my newborn with pissy dick hand.
You got hand sanitizer in the car.
That's not... You can't add things to support your narrative of what you want to happen.
You get back in the car.
Boo,
Get on the highway.
Nope,
I'm
out.
Do some knee driving.
I'm out.
Hand sanitizer up your hands. You got a little bit extra. Hand sanitizer down the steering wheel.
I'm out.
Seems like a perfect case.
I can create a scenario, and then by your answer, I can just keep changing it until you're forced into the box I want you to go in.
Exactly. My point is
not
there
playing
are
that game.
scenarios where you would not wash your hands.
Yeah, the sink not working. There's no soap.
Look at that. You can even come up with them.
Yeah, that's because you don't have an option. You're not going to use toilet bowl water. You could.
I'd rather not wash my hands than use toilet bowl water.
I agree. But what if the toilet bowl was just perfectly cleaned?
What if it's brand new toilet bowl? Great
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
Or you take the lid off the back, you use the tank water.
I don't think they have tanks.
It's a good question.
in like rest areas and whatnot.
Yeah, they don't. You're right. Because it's just got like the pipe coming up.
Yeah.
With the
So-
little.
Anyway, yeah, that's all I got.
Riveting conversation we've had here.
Your clock's wrong.
Hopefully everybody made it through the bank talk to at least get the urinal talk.
Yeah. Well, too bad we didn't have an expert on.
Yep, maybe next time.
Maybe not.
Maybe we can force him to listen to this and then tell us
Doubtful.
why we're wrong and stupid. I'm sure he would love that.
Well, maybe you can just. What is a bank? Like, what is it? Just holds money?
I proposed to him. I said, what do you think about this? Keep in mind, I've spent literally 30 seconds thinking about this. It's probably a terrible idea. How about we just have one set of banks that are not allowed to take your money out of your account? It's a vault. You put your money in, it stays there until you come back for it. No fractional reserve, nothing. Then, if you want to earn interest on your deposits, you take it to a separate bank like we have today, where they take your money, invest it in random stuff. Yeah, maybe there's a chance that they hire a bunch of dummies in their risk management department. You can't get your money out when you go get it. But probably not. And you earn a little bit of interest on your money that you deposit. And he said, that's socialism.
Probably is. I mean, my question is, in that big vault you speak of,
Mm-hmm.
who's managing it?
The government.
Oh, yeah, then that's socialism.
Because you obviously you can't have a company like.
Well, they got to make money. And if
Yeah,
there's
exactly.
no interest, there's no reason.
Right.
Yeah, so. All right, well,
That seems like
good idea.
that seems like some kind of government. Like if I think about all the things I'd want the government to fund: infrastructure, healthcare, education. How about a risk-free bank? As long as my government is intact, my money is going to be there, right? Which I guess is true with FDIC insurance, but still kind of scary.
Yeah.
Those are like probably the top 4 things I would want the government to fund. That I thought of off the top of my head. Probably missing some.
Very good. Yeah. Sounds good to me.
Mm-hmm. Cool beans.
That's all I got.
Cool. Me too.
All right.
I literally wrote on my notes banks and stuff. Glad we got to it.
Hell yeah, brothers.
All right. Peace out, Girl
Peace
Scouts.
out.
Bye.